How we doing there, Cap?
I think it'll work.
Looks like the test.
This whole motion.
Really? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Watch your back, Taylor. Watch your back, T.
What if I told you that one of the most beloved boats in deadliest catch history vanished overnight because of a secret so dark that Discovery Channel had no choice but to erase it from existence? The bright blue and yellow Cornelia Marie wasn't just any fishing boat. For over a decade, it was the beating heart of the show, captained by the legendary Phil Harris and later by his sons Josh and Jake. But in August 2022, everything changed in the blink of an eye. A buried court document surfaced online, revealing a crime so shocking that it destroyed not just a family legacy, but an entire television empire built around one boat. Today, we're going to uncover the real reason why the Cornelia Marie disappeared from deadliest catch. And trust me, this story is darker than the coldest Alaskan winter. Let's start at the beginning. The Cornelia Marie wasn't born famous. Back in 1989, in a small shipbuilding town called Bayou Labatra, Alabama, a man named Elmo Horton was crafting what would become one of his last great vessels. This wasn't just any boat. At 128 feet long and 28 feet wide, built from heavy steel and powered by twin 750 horsepower engines, the Cornelia Marie was designed to survive the most brutal conditions the Bering Sea could throw at it. The boat got its name from something pretty sweet. Actually, a man named Ralph Collins commissioned the vessel and named it after his wife, Cornelia Marie Collins. She wasn't just sitting at home while he worked. She was right there beside him in the fishing business, working hard every single day. Even after they got divorced, her name stayed on that hull, painted in those unmistakable aquamarine and white colors with bright yellow banners that made it easy to spot from miles away. From day one, the Cornelia Marie proved it was special. While other boats struggled and sometimes sank in the dangerous Bering Sea, this vessel kept bringing in massive hauls of king crab and opilio crab. It could stay out longer than most boats because it held 28,500 gallons of fuel and 3,000 gallons of fresh water. That meant longer trips and bigger catches, which meant more money for everyone on board. But the real magic happened when Phil Harris stepped aboard. Phil wasn't your typical sea captain. Born and raised in Bothell, Washington, he'd been fishing with his father since he was just 8 years old. At 17, he made a decision that would change everything. He dropped out of high school after hearing about a friend who made over $100,000 in one crab season and bought a brand new car. Phil looked at his beat-up old car and thought, I want that life. His first season was absolutely brutal. He made no money at all, and even quit once, but came back after the captain made fun of him for giving up. By 19, Phil finally struck gold, earning $130,000 in a single year. That was life-changing money back then. By 21, he owned his own boat, and by his mid-20s, he was known as one of the best captains on the Bering Sea. Phil Harris wasn't just tough, he was legendary. He chain-smoked constantly, barked orders like a drill sergeant, but treated his crew like family. He shared profits fairly and never asked anyone to do something he wouldn't do himself. His stress didn't come from the danger of the job. As he once said, it came from empty crab pots, because that meant his men might go home with nothing. In 2005, something incredible happened. Out of over 250 fishing boats, the producers of Deadliest Catch chose just 4 to feature permanently on their show. The Cornelia Marie was one of them, and it wasn't just luck. The boat had proven itself with consistent big catches, and Phil Harris had the kind of personality that television gold is made of. He said exactly what was on his mind, told jokes that made people laugh even in the worst situations, and had one-liners that fans still quote today. Remember when he said, I feel like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest? Or, now you know why lions eat their young? Phil's humor helped him survive the hardest times, and it made millions of viewers feel like they knew him personally. But Phil made a decision that would change everything for his family. He brought his sons Josh and Jake onto the boat. This wasn't just about family bonding. Phil made sure his boys worked just as hard as everyone else, maybe even harder. What viewers saw on television was completely real. The arguments, the tension, the moments when being a father clashed with being a captain. There was one moment that broke everyone's heart. Phil looked at Jake, who was struggling with addiction, and said, "You need to go to treatment, man. At least you'll have a fighting chance." The cameras captured Jake's spiral into drugs and alcohol, and they also showed how much Phil loved his sons despite everything. Phil's own battles were just as real and just as painful to watch. The man who could survive the deadliest storms on Earth couldn't beat his addiction to cigarettes. He smoked constantly, sometimes lighting one cigarette from the end of another. He drank pots of coffee and cases of Red Bull. Even after suffering a pulmonary aneurysm at sea in 2008, Phil wouldn't quit smoking. His doctors begged him. His crew begged him. His sons begged him. But he couldn't stop. On January 29th, 2010, everything changed forever. The Cornelia Marie was docked at St. Paul Island, Alaska, and they were unloading crab when Phil suddenly collapsed. He'd suffered a massive stroke. His crew jumped into action, radioing for help while EMTs rushed to save his life. Because St. Paul Island was so remote, they had to fly him hundreds of miles to Anchorage for proper medical care. The cameras captured every heartbreaking moment, every tear, every frantic radio call, every prayer from his crew. It raised serious questions about whether such private pain should be shown to the world, but Phil's sons gave their consent. They wanted people to see the truth and honor their father. At first, it looked like Phil might beat the odds. He squeezed hands, he spoke, he even joked with the doctors. Most stroke patients take months to do what Phil did in just days. The whole world started to hope. But hope can be cruel. A sudden brain bleed changed everything, and Phil's condition collapsed. On February 9th, 2010, at just 53 years old, Captain Phil Harris was gone. When the episode about Phil's final days aired on July 20th, 2010, over 5.4 million people watched. It became one of the most watched episodes in the show's history. Viewers weren't just watching a captain's death. They were watching a family's heartbreak and the brutal cost of a hard life at sea. After Phil died, Josh and Jake faced an almost impossible challenge. They wanted to keep the Cornelia Marie in the family, but they didn't have full ownership of the boat. Buying out the other stakeholders would cost more money than they could imagine, and the boat needed serious repairs too. Banks and investors saw them as too young, too inexperienced, and too risky to lend money to. Derek Ray, an old friend of Phil's, stepped in as interim captain. His job was to honor Phil's wish that the boat continue on Deadliest Catch. But almost immediately, his leadership caused problems. He was strict and clashed with the grieving brothers, especially Jake. Ray even accused Jake of using drugs on board and called the police to scare him straight. The boat that had once been united under Phil now felt divided and broken. After years of struggle, Josh finally found a way forward. He teamed up with Casey McManus, a childhood friend who had become a skilled engineer. Together, they raised the money needed to buy 50% of the Cornelia Marie and made major improvements to the boat. In 2015, they became co-captains, with Josh bringing heart and vision, while Casey brought technical skills. But while Josh was rebuilding the boat and his future, Jake's life was falling apart completely. His addiction, which had already been shown on television, got much worse after Phil died. Jake was arrested for DUI in 2010. In 2017, he was arrested again for drug possession and car theft. In 2019, he went to prison for DUI and attempting to distribute heroin. There was a police chase, a revoked license, more prison time. It was a heartbreaking spiral that eventually led to an 18-month prison sentence in 2024. In October 2016, fans were shocked when the Cornelia Marie and Josh were missing from Season 13 of Deadliest Catch. Social media exploded with rumors and angry fans. Josh posted a video to explain that it wasn't because of any drama on board. The producers had simply chosen to focus on other boats that season to shake up the storylines. Fans were furious, and many threatened to boycott the show until the Cornelia Marie came back. The boat's return in Season 14 was like a celebration for fans who had missed it deeply. The blue and yellow hull had become a symbol of the show, tied forever to the memory of Captain Phil Harris. When Discovery announced its return for the 2018 season, social media exploded with excitement. Ratings soared as viewers tuned in to see if the new generation could honor Phil's legacy. In 2020, the Harris story took a surprising turn with the launch of Deadliest Catch Bloodline. This spin-off moved from Alaska's icy waters to Hawaii's sunny shores. It all started when Josh found 50 to 60 old fishing charts hidden in his dad's room on the Cornelia Marie. 3 of these maps were for Hawaii, filled with strange notes and marked fishing spots. Josh, determined to follow his father's clues, joined forces with Casey and a local fisherman to chase after the secrets of Phil's maps. As the years went on, changes in leadership slowly became obvious. Casey McManus, who had joined as co-captain in 2014, began taking charge more and more. While Josh faced personal and legal troubles, Casey stepped up to handle the boat's operations and make key decisions. His skills kept the Cornelia Marie running smoothly and financially stable. But Josh's life was falling apart behind the scenes. Fans who once cheered for him were shocked as his personal troubles grew. There were relationship problems, financial messes, and erratic behavior that chipped away at his image. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared anyone for what was coming next. The bombshell exploded in August 2022 when old court documents surfaced online. Fans were stunned to learn that in 1998, when Josh was just 15 years old, he had sexually assaulted a 4-year-old family friend's daughter. The case details were absolutely horrifying. The child was too young to even understand what was happening to her. Because of DNA delays, charges didn't come until 1999. Josh pled guilty to a lesser charge and served only 9 months in jail, plus 2 years of treatment. For more than 2 decades, this dark secret stayed hidden. Josh had built his entire public image on being Phil Harris's son, the heir to a fishing legacy. He'd appeared on television for years, gained thousands of fans, and become a role model for young people interested in fishing. When the truth finally came out, fans felt angry and betrayed. How had such a serious crime been overlooked for so long? Discovery Channel moved with lightning speed once the news broke. By September 2022, they had erased all traces of Josh and the Cornelia Marie from their shows. Bloodline was canceled immediately. Old episodes vanished from streaming services across the United States, Canada, and beyond. Even promotional posts and tweets disappeared. The network wanted absolutely no connection to scandal. The fans had mixed feelings about Discovery's swift action. Some praised the network for doing the right thing and cutting ties immediately. Others mourned the loss of the Cornelia Marie from their screens, feeling like they were losing a piece of television history. The boat that had been the heart of Deadliest Catch for over a decade was suddenly gone, erased as if it had never existed. Casey McManus, though completely innocent in all of this, also paid a heavy price. When Discovery cut ties with Josh, they cut Casey too. His contract wasn't renewed, and his time on the show ended through no fault of his own. Fans felt this was deeply unfair. Casey had always been respected and professional, but he got caught in the storm anyway. He has since moved on to a new career working on tugboats, but the sudden end to his television career showed how quickly fortunes can change in reality TV. The Cornelia Marie itself became a victim of Josh's crimes. The boat that had survived the deadliest storms, brought in millions of pounds of crab, and entertained millions of viewers was suddenly worthless as a television property. All because of something Josh had done as a teenager, something that should have disqualified him from public life long before he ever appeared on camera. In 2024, the Cornelia Marie started a new chapter. On June 17th, Taylor Jensen announced that he and a group of partners had bought the boat. The team included Jensen, Roger Thomas, Carrie Toya, and Jake Albanese, with Albanese taking over as captain. The new owners made it clear that while they honored the boat's history, their focus would be on fishing, not fame. For the first time since Phil Harris's death, the Cornelia Marie was free from the shadow of the Harris family. A new era had begun, but it came at an incredible cost. The boat that had made crab fishing famous, that had shown the world the brutal reality of life on the Bering Sea, was now associated with one of the most shameful scandals in reality television history. This story isn't just about one boat or one family. It's about how secrets have a way of coming out, no matter how long they stay buried. It's about how the actions we take as young people can follow us for the rest of our lives, affecting not just ourselves, but everyone around us. Josh's crime didn't just destroy his own life and career. It destroyed his brother's chances, his friend Casey's television career, and the legacy of a boat that had become legendary. Phil Harris spent his life building something he could pass on to his sons. He worked in the most dangerous conditions on Earth, battled his own demons, and created a legacy that should have lasted for generations. In one moment, because of choices Josh made as a teenager, all of that was gone. The Cornelia Marie, which should have been a symbol of hard work, family loyalty, and survival against all odds, became instead a reminder of how quickly everything can fall apart. The most tragic part of this story is that it didn't have to happen this way. If Josh had been honest about his past from the beginning, if he had faced the consequences of his actions instead of hiding them, maybe things would have been different. Maybe he could have used his platform to talk about redemption, about making amends, about becoming a better person. Instead, he chose to hide the truth, and when it finally came out, the explosion destroyed everything his father had built. Today, the Cornelia Marie is still out there on the Bering Sea, still catching crab, still fighting the brutal storms. But it will never be the same. The bright blue and yellow boat that once symbolized the American dream, that showed us ordinary people doing extraordinary things in impossible conditions, is now forever linked to a scandal that shocked the world. This is the real reason the Cornelia Marie disappeared from Deadliest Catch. Not because of bad ratings or creative differences, but because of a secret so dark that it could no longer be ignored. It's a reminder that in our age of social media and digital records, the past has a way of catching up with us, no matter how far we run or how long we hide. The story of the Cornelia Marie should have been one of triumph over tragedy, of sons honoring their father's legacy and carrying on a proud tradition. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about the price of secrets and the cost of lies. Phil Harris deserved better. The crew deserved better. The fans deserve better. And somewhere out there on the Bering Sea, that beautiful blue and yellow boat deserves a chance to be remembered for the right reasons. If this story shocked you as much as it shocked me, make sure to hit that like button and share this video with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the stories behind your favorite shows. What do you think about Josh Harris and the fall of the Cornelia Marie? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.